past the aircraft. In actual fact, what we're looking at here is a motion blur of a bright object that's in the sky behind the aircraft, that it could be stationary, but we've got a panning of the camera from left to right, and as a result of that movement, it's recording an object and smudging it across the image. It's similar to the rods only in that it's an elongated object.
To help illustrate his conclusions, Frederick showed us some photos he took on a recent trip to England.
I was in a swarm of bugs. They were so thick, I thought it was interesting just to take a picture of the bugs. So I changed the focal point of the camera, increased the shutter speed of the camera, and took a picture of the bugs. And they certainly do appear to be what people describe as rods. It's interesting that nobody ever sees a rod until it's photographed. Everything that I've been asked to look at here is explainable. The so-called rods are not rods, they're insects.
For years, residents of the town of Presqu'île, Michigan, have believed that a strange amber light beaming from the abandoned lighthouse is in fact the ghost of one-time resident George Paris.
I knew I was always protected while I was here, and I figured that's why he came back.
Even though the Coast Guard has taken the lights out of a lot of the lighthouses, I believe that George is still keeping this light here alive.
He lived here a long time, and I think he's just keeping an eye on us and keeping an eye on the harbor.
Proof Positive asked optical physicist Al Rosenthal to investigate. Aided by his wife Judy, Al set up a detailed experiment. But as soon as the light came on, he realized the solution lay inside the tower itself, and the only piece of equipment he needed was his jacket.
Judy, do you see the ghost light?
Yes, we do.
How about now?
Yes.
Now!
The ghost light is gone. It's been turned off. Uh-oh, now it's just came on.
Well, I think we figured out what was going on. We took several lines of sight and covered up various windows, walked around the entire octagon there. Every time we walked in front of one window or covered that window up, the ghost lights disappeared.
The following morning, Al elaborates on his findings.
Light from a flagpole striking and put it outside each pane of glass, working my way around. You don't see the ghost light now? And after a little bit of testing like that, it was clear that whatever reflection was occurring off this one pane of glass. Is it gone now?
Yes, it's gone now.
Now it's gone, okay. It was clear it could only be the harbor lights. We were either seeing the harbor lights themselves or something illuminated by the harbor lights.
Al's careful analysis reveals that the ghost light is an illusion. Clearly not proof positive. But this case doesn't end there. While we were filming, our production assistant, Ben, had an unexplained experience of his own.
What's going on?
I saw something in the corner over there, man.
While opening the lighthouse from inside, Ben felt a cold presence.
All of a sudden it ran down, and for some reason, I took a quick glance over there, and there's just a black shadow, and my spine just went numb.
Later on, the same door wouldn't budge, and its lock could not be opened. What happened? It was time to get an expert's opinion.
This lock here has been compromised. You can tell that the way it's supposed to be is right up tight like that, but you can tell that that's been broken by a lot of pressure, 3/4 of an inch probably.
Milton dismantled the lock for a closer look.
Here's the inside of the lock here. You can see that the bolt is severely bent.
Is that something a human could do from the inside?
From the inside of this door with nothing to grab onto, I can't imagine how that could possibly happen. Even if Ben opened the lock, ran out, and the lock malfunctioned at that precise time, and he slammed the door with this heavy door, this bolt, the force of that door closing, the bolt would have broke the lock in this direction, telling me that that door was already locked when that lock was compromised.
Was the lock broken with some feat of superhuman strength, as Milt suggested? Or was it something else? We brought Ben back to the scene.
It seemed actually to come out pretty easy, just turn pretty easy and just open up right away.
So then, when the next guy came down, though, it was locked.
Sometimes there are no explanations for things that happen in the natural world. The ghost light itself may be a simple reflection, but many local residents continue to believe that the old lighthouse is haunted by the ghost of George Paris. For them, the broken lock is proof enough. Police Captain Bob Snow claims he's the reincarnation of painter James Carroll Beckwith, who died in 1917. Under regressive hypnosis, he came up with 28 facts about the painter's life. Details like a hunchback woman Beckwith once painted, a blood clot that killed Beckwith's mother, and his dislike of portrait work. After a year of exhaustive research, Bob was able to verify all 28 facts as true.
And I had assumed that I had stumbled across his name sometime in my life when I was doing some kind of reading, but I found there's no way I could have.
To determine if his story is credible, Captain Snow agreed to submit to a polygraph examination. The exam seems to go well, until...
Well, in New Orleans in 1993, did you first discover that the painter in your regression was James Carroll Beckwith?
Yes.
That one question provokes a significant physiological response from Bob, indicating a possible untruthful answer.
So let's kind of go over how your test results came out. Now, if
ultimately, the test is ruled inconclusive. Has Captain Snow fabricated all or part of his story?
Physiological process that comes from a recognized...
It might seem so, but it was soon determined that Bob's suspect answer came because the one question was phrased in a confusing manner.
Maybe I'm looking at my construction of the question, and maybe it wasn't a fair enough question.
1 week later, Bob submits to a second polygraph with a different examiner.
Regarding whether you were familiar with J. Carroll Beckwith prior to your visit to New Orleans, do you intend to answer truthfully each question about that?
Yes.
Prior to your first regression session with Dr. Griffith, did you have any conscious knowledge of J. Carroll Beckwith?
No.
Not regarding this situation, do you remember ever falsifying information in order to sell more books?
No.
Prior to your 1993 visit to New Orleans, were you already familiar with a painter named J. Carroll Beckwith?
No.
When you first visualized the number 1917 during self-hypnosis, did you know the significance of that number?
No.
The second test is over. How will the results match up to the earlier exam?
All your reactions and responses are broken down into numerical scores. And we have a final score that tells us what category you fall into, truthful, deceptive, or inconclusive. The results of your exam are showing us a +10, a +5, and a +7 on all of your relevant questions. The threshold for truthfulness is a +4. So anything higher than a +4 with this particular test is showing truthfulness. Overall, that concludes that you would not be attempting deception to any of these relevant questions to a 95% certainty.
The whole idea of reincarnation is tremendously controversial, and it's not a mainline American belief. And I knew when I put this out that there was going to be a lot of people saying, oh, he's lying, he's making this up. And it's nice to show, I have scientific proof, that I'm not making it up. I'm telling the truth.
Is Bob Snow the reincarnation of painter James Carroll Beckwith? You may have your own opinions, but the polygraph results, combined with the 28 facts, make Snow's story difficult to refute. Until we have further evidence, this case is proof positive. Remarkable stories of the paranormal, scientific testing. I'm Amanda Tapping. Join me next time for Proof Positive.